Oh yeah, the NFL draft and rookies. Hell yeah.
Podcast off the rails already.
But there is not a chance in hell Justin Fields is finishing in the top 10.
There you know what, Mikey? Shut it.
He wants
Why
it.
not?
You don't want the smoke.
He's Calvin Johnson. He's Calvin
Oh,
Johnson.
good.
Oh,
God.
my
Yes,
God.
yes, and yes.
What are we gonna do with you?
It just, it adds a little extra flavor to the podcast.
I think you're disrespecting David Njoku.
Thank God
Yeah.
for Joe Flacco. That's all I can say. I'll help the owners. Don't draft Kadarius Toney.
I have to give the people what they want. I mean, come on. I'm going to milk it. I'm going to milk it for all it's worth.
I'll give you something to milk.
Let's rock and roll.
What is up, MHA owners? Well, that was a week, I guess. Week 10. All three of us lost this week. The Broncos lost on a crappy way to end the game.
Got that right.
Yeah, and perhaps only a handful of great performances. Looking back on the duds and studs section. Yeah, Eric Lansing, Mikey Renaud, Todd Diamond. It all sucked. Maybe we should just end the show now before it gets more depressing. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's a good way to end it right there. Yeah, we all lost. Good night, America.
Good night.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys are such Debbie Downers. Who peed in your Cheerios tonight?
Our season might be over, Miguel.
Yeah, it's
Over. I know you're sitting high in your third place throne right now, but the rest of us aren't doing well here in the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, the Rubik's Cube is dead, Mikey. It's dead. It's dead. It's dead.
You guys are just coming to the realization that it's over now. We could have had this conversation 2 weeks ago.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Come on.
Here we go.
There you have it.
Okay.
So week 10, we're going to look back on week 10. Of course, we'll talk about some news. I got some MHA trivia. We'll talk about next week's schedule. At least someone on this podcast won Doe of the Week, so they can talk about that when we get to it. But first, maybe we should just get to some news.
I don't understand what the news is. It's just like, hey, here's a bunch of you can't fix that happened that was horrible.
And we'll lead it off with a trade. A trade took place, and it took place between Lion Rip and Chad Powers Fan Club. Lion Rip receives Broncos running back Javonte Williams, while Chad Powers Fan Club receives Khalil Shakir. Mikey, thoughts on the trade?
Well, I thought originally when I saw the trade, I popped open and said, "Oh, trade between Lion Rip and Chad Powers Fan Club." I was like, "Ooh, juicy! This might be good." And then I saw it, and then I was like, "What is this?"
The wrong kind.
I'm sure it's just depth both ways. Nothing great.
Yeah, I mean Javonte's. I think is. I don't know. Has shown flashes and has done great, but other weeks he's kind of non-existent. So yeah, I agree with you. It's just more depth wise for that. But
all right,
yeah.
Nothing exciting about this trade. How about, is this exciting for Bears fans or Bears fantasy player owners in terms of their offensive coordinator being fired after some pretty bad football over the last month or so? So they just brought someone up. They brought someone up from underneath or from down lower in the pecking order of the coaching staff. So we'll see if that helps Caleb Williams, who did not have a good week 10 as well. He also stunk it up with us. Dak Prescott will miss the rest of the season. He's going to have surgery on his hamstring that was apparently hanging off the bone. That's disgusting. So that's not good for Miguel, but we kind of talked about that already. Isaiah Pacheco, who has been out since week 3, was designated for return from the injured reserve. He won't play this week, but he's getting time in practice. So that's great for all those owners out there in the fantasy world who needs Isaiah Pacheco. I believe NWA has him in our league, but so that's something to keep an eye on. Trevor Lawrence, one of Aaron's quarterbacks, he got dropped actually today. He's not playing in week 11, still dealing with an AC joint. It's not that it helped him at all during the season. Trevor Lawrence not having a fine 2024 season. Speaking of quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson from the Colts named the starter for the rest of the season. I guess he's doing better in practice. I don't know. 49ers tight end George Kittle did not practice today. He's also dealing with hamstring injuries, all kinds of hamstrings. Speaking of hamstrings, how about Brian Robinson Jr. from the Commanders? He was a full participant. He's missed a few weeks, but should be back here this weekend. And then Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf practiced in full today. Should be good to go after missing multiple weeks due to a knee issue. Any other news or items I missed this week, gentlemen? Anything from your team specifically?
I don't think so.
All right.
Still sucks.
Got it all covered. That's what a good host does.
Exactly.
And MHA trivia time. You guys ready for this?
Woo! Trivia.
Let's do it.
Time to play the game. Time to play the game.
All right, gentlemen. MHA trivia time. And now you're just going to have to wait because after I had to restart my computer, I also had to bring this page up. But anyway, Caleb Williams, we talked about he didn't have a great week. You guys remember how many times he was sacked by the Patriots this weekend?
9 times.
9 times. That is unbelievable. So that made me think, what is the record for the most times a quarterback has been sacked in a single game? That's what we're going to do here today. Once I bring it back up on my computer, and I have it. I am on point here today. All right, so there's 3 tied for first, and then a bunch tied for second. So whoever just gets to 5 first is going to win MHA Trivia for this week. And as always, because we just love Todd so very much, we're going to let him go first.
All right.
So, most times a quarterback's been sacked in a game. Give me a quarterback.
I'll say Brett Favre.
Brett Favre. Looking down the list. And don't see Brett Favre. That's not a bad answer considering how long his career was, but he is not one of the ones that's been sacked most times in a game. Over to you, Miguel.
I'll say Russell Wilson.
Well, Russell Wilson. I think that's just a funny one. Mikey's a ball breaker. That's why.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
But he's not on the list. We might have to go down to 4.
Okay.
This might take a while because there's a lot of names and some names I'm not even familiar with. There are some names that are definitely recognizable. Back to Todd Diamond.
I'll go with I don't know, Joe Namath.
Joe Namath. Yeah, unfortunately, no.
Okay.
No, Joe Namath.
Dang.
I might have to start giving you guys clues. We'll let Mikey give another guess here.
All right.
Let's go Peyton Manning.
That's not a bad guess either. And he is not amongst this list.
Jeez.
So the number, I'll give you guys the number, for most times sacked in a game is 12. 12. 3 of them have been sacked 12 times in a game. 2 names familiar. 1 happened in 2007.
Okay.
1 happened in 1985. And 1 happened in 1980.
Ooh.
So those are the clues you get for the next go around here.
Ooh, I think I know one for 85.
Ooh, all right.
I'm going to go Tony Eason.
Tony Eason. We talked about him not too long on this podcast. That's not the right name, though.
Okay.
What do you got for me, Miguel? Yeah, this is tougher than I thought it was going to be.
Just trying to think of guys that get sacked all the time. I'll go Daniel Jones.
Daniel, I don't think that's a bad guess either, but I do not see him in this top in terms of 12 and 11. Those are the numbers on the board, but Daniel Jones is not a bad guess. Let's see. What else can I say here?
Ooh. Now I was going to say,
guess. Roll with it.
Eli Manning.
Eli Manning. Oh, this is not turning out well for you guys.
No, this is this is
a couple of these quarterbacks are running quarterbacks.
Okay.
One of these happened in 1986, and the other one was 2007, as I mentioned.
All right. Well, since there wasn't that many running quarterbacks in the 80s, I'll throw Randall Cunningham out there.
Ooh, that's a good guess.
It's a correct answer. Well done. Randall Cunningham sacked 11 times against the Los Angeles Raiders on November 3rd, 1986. Well done. Here, one of these quarterbacks who played in the very late 80s and 90s. This happened in 1991 against the Eagles. He was not a running quarterback by any stretch.
Ooh. It's Todd to guess.
Jeff George.
Jeff George. Looking over the list, and I do not recall seeing his name. Not on there.
Trivia is just not. Is
So 1991 Eagles. So that was that really good defensive line with Jerome Brown and Clyde Simmons and Reggie White.
Well, he's got all that, but who did they sack 11 times in one game?
Okay.
Use your
Now,
your brain's thinking. I like it. Do the
I'm
math.
just
How many times
trying
did you play a
to
team? over
remember.
a season?
right, and so if it was a divisional opponent, Dallas was really bad. I remember they had like a 1-15 season Troy Aikman's rookie year. So I'm going to go with Troy Aikman.
Very good. Very good. I don't know if 91 is the bad year, but he was sacked 11 times. And Mikey has 2 points. God, he's pulling away.
Dang it.
What else we got here?
What's another year? It's another year, maybe.
Sure. So how about 1984? You guys mentioned this name a couple of times.
1984.
If that helps at all. I might give it away. I don't know. Maybe not. Let's see.
You mentioned the name.
Dan Marino.
Dan Marino, he did have a long career, didn't he? However, unfortunately, Todd, not.
Dang, I just could not get trivia tonight. Golly.
One of these guys is a Super Bowl MVP from the 60s.
Oh, the 60s? Oh, well. Let's see. MVP 60. He was an MVP in the 60s?
No, he was an MVP in the Super Bowl in the 60s.
Oh. Well,
One of these guys is a former broadcaster who played quarterback for a NFC East team.
Oh, I know. Well, but it's Mikey's guess.
Is it your turn, Todd, or is it Mikey's turn?
It's mine.
Yeah.
The
Which one is
60s.
cheap,
I mean,
Sorry.
MVP 60s. I'm just going to say Bart Starr. That's the MVP quarterback in the 60s that I know of.
And you're correct. Mikey is killing it.
I thought it was.
Well
I thought
done,
it was an Eagles quarterback. I was going to say Ron, Jaworski or whatever, but
Very good.
Oh.
He was sacked 11 times by the Cardinals in December 18 of 1983. Very good. All right,
Awesome.
Mikey can win it right here. One of these quarterbacks is still in the league, still playing. Oh, Mikey, Daniel Jones was also, he was sacked in the game 10 times, but not 11.
Yeah.
But one of these quarterbacks still in the league happened in 2018 against the Baltimore Ravens.
2018 against the Ravens.
Who else we got in here? I mentioned this name a couple of times already, or actually, you guys mentioned this name a couple of times already. Which means
I was trying to get the 84 one too. I don't know. John Elway.
I know he was sacked 7 times in one game, right? By Derek Thomas. It's not John Elway. Oh man.
I was gonna say.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say maybe Jim McMahon.
I don't know if he played that long to warrant. Well, I guess it doesn't matter length because it's just one game.
Yeah, just in a game.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, but not the right one. One of these guys. Golly, trying to get not to give it away. So we mentioned the 1985 one took place against the Cowboys September 29th, but that doesn't matter because it wasn't a divisional game. Gosh, he wasn't
Have
in
to start
MVP.
throwing out 80s quarterbacks, Todd.
There's a lot of 80s.
Yeah.
A lot of 80s people in here.
Todd
All right,
said
Todd, I'm gonna try.
Marino.
It's Todd's guess, right? This is going long. Todd, this is your guess, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Okay, so you guys mentioned a couple of quarterbacks in your guesses And there's a third one. If that makes any sense.
Doug Williams.
Doug Williams. No, I'm afraid not.
Okay, what about Jim Kelly?
Jim Kelly from the Bills. No, that's not right either.
No, he didn't play in the 80s anyway.
Well, I
What
mean,
the hell are you talking about? He played in the 80s.
yeah.
I thought he was with the Houston, the
All right,
USFL.
I'm gonna start naming teams out here for some of these quarterbacks. How about there's a Minnesota quarterback in 1984?
Tarkington.
Ooh, no, I think it was before that.
That was in the 70s.
How about a Houston quarterback in 1985?
That could be Warren Moon.
And hooray! Finally, Mikey wins MHA trivia. That was a tough one. That was tougher than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
Donovan McNabb was sacked 12 times in a game in 2007 by the Giants. Burt Jones, for those who remember Burt Jones from 1980.
Oh yeah, Burt
Yeah,
Jones.
of course.
Sure.
That's why we
No,
don't.
I know Burt Jones.
You know Burt
Those,
Jones, you guys buddies?
the Colts, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
I'm glad you know. I have no idea. The quarterback that's still playing, Marcus Mariota, with Tennessee, was sacked 11 times in one game. Some of these other names I'm going to go through real quick. Greg McElroy, Jets in 2012? That was Greg McElroy.
Yeah.
All right.
Alabama.
Hey,
And
man,
now,
There you go. All
now
right.
he's a commentator for ESPN.
Well, he picked the better job then. Bernie Kosar with Cleveland in 1992.
okay.
David Norrie, 87 Jets.
Yeah.
Sacked 11 times. I don't know who that is. Steve Pueller or Pellior. Dallas Cowboys in 1986. The guy. This was the guy I was trying to get you. You guys gave a guess about a couple of quarterbacks with the same name, and Archie Manning is the other one. You guys mentioned Manning a couple times. I was trying to get that across. Trying to do it without giving it away. Paul McDonald, Cleveland Browns in 1984. He was sacked 11 times. Jaworski, Greg Landry, Bob Berry, Jack Kemp, Bart Starr, and Charlie Johnson.
Oof.
Oh, Charlie Johnson.
Old Charlie Johnson.
Former Bronco.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
really? Oh, yeah, Charlie, yeah.
Ring of
There you
Fame.
go. Well, all right.
Okay.
Let's
All
keep
right.
this train moving. That took a long time.
Yeah,
But-
my brain hurts on that
There
one.
wasn't a lot of good stat like stuff
No.
going on this week either. So let's get into the Week 10 recap. 7-2 Hot Tamales, 8-1 Notorious CUP, and what was supposed to be a hyped MHA Super Bowl preview. Well, it turned out to suck like the rest of Week 10. Neither of these, I could have beaten either of these teams with my point total. That's how bad these guys were. This score was in favor of CUP, who edged out the Hot Tamales 94.17 to 93.86. CUP's best performance came from the Buffalo Bills defense, who intercepted Joe Flacco 3 times, sacked him 4 times, and scored a touchdown, 21 points. Sam Darnold only managed 30 points versus Jacksonville's usually abysmal defense. The Tamales had Derrick Henry, of course he did, who has been great all year. He scored a rushing touchdown on his way to 13 points. Kirk Cousins, he kind of stank this week, 33 points versus the Saint defense. This one came down to Sunday night as Quayne needed to find an option after Nico Collins decided to leave the injury. The report he was not able to play. There was a lot of speculation that he was going to be able to play. Did not, so he ended up picking up Robert Woods, who what do you have, 7 catches I think all season according to what Mikey told me. He would go on and have 1.05 points, which was enough to beat the Tamales by 0.31 points. You two should be ashamed of yourselves. But Mikey, you want to talk about your performance this week?
Oh, it was bad. It was
Brutal.
the worst of the year.
And you were still in it. Your worst
Yeah, that's
performance
the
of the year,
thing.
you
You-
still had a chance.
I was still in it. I find myself to be very unlucky this week in a lot of ways.
1 out of 11, good, or 1 out of 10, good for you.
Yeah.
You know, my kicker had a blocked field goal. My tight end got hurt. I got sniped of 2 touchdowns from J.K. Dobbins, one by a guy named, Hassan Haskins or whatever the hell his name was. Saquon got knocked down at the 1-yard line twice, and we know what happens when that happens.
Tush
Jalen
push.
Hurts. Yeah.
Push.
Tush push. Chicago struggled with Drake May. I mean, Yeah, it was just a bad week in every way.
Yeah, that's
Well, your first one on the season. That's okay. Don't
yeah.
sweat it. You'll be just fine. I think you'll
Yeah.
be okay.
Just remember, it's all up from here, Mikey.
I don't know. Well,
Yeah, for
we'll see.
I'm just yeah.
We'll keep going here. 6-3 Cooper's Cousins, 7-2 Kilgore Trout. Kilgore Trout running on all cylinders these days. He piles up another big point total. This week he smashed Cooper's Cousins 160 to 119. Another big Thursday night performance. Set the tone for Joe's squad. 75 points for Joe Burrow. I thought the Ravens were supposed to be good. And Chuba Hubbard putting up his stats. The best running back in the league, maybe 153 yards rushing and a score for 24 points. Bijan Robinson, he racked up a massive 28 points for Cooper's Cousins against that Saints defense. And Marvin Harrison Jr. rebounded from a 1-point week in week 9 to catch 5 passes for a touchdown and 13 points. But with Geno Smith and Jordan Love on bye weeks, he had to roll with Daniel Jones, who was not good this week. So couldn't do much with that great Carolina matchup, mustering up just 34 points. Kilgore Trout cruises to the 41-point victory to improve to 8-2. Cooper's Cousins falls to 6-4. 3-4, 4-5 NWA versus 3-6 Gonzo Cats. The NWA, they scored a week high 170 points, goodness, which was a season high for G's team. Lamar Jackson racks up 4 more touchdowns this week, scores 65 against that Bengals defense on Thursday night. Calvin Ridley has put up 3 straight solid weeks in a row. This week exploding for a season high 21 points versus the Chargers. And how about Austin Eckler? Remember this former first-round fantasy stud? He got 17 on the weekend, 2 rushing touchdowns for 2 straight weeks of 15 or more points. The NWA had 8 players reach 10 or more points. The Gonzo Cats finally got to use their first-round pick, Christian McCaffrey, who didn't have a touchdown but caught 6 balls and ran for 68 yards. And Drake London had his first 10-point game in 3 weeks, but it wasn't nearly enough as the Gonzo Cats fall 170 to 106 to 3-7, and they fall to 3-7, while NWA improves to 5-5. How about 4-5 Lion Rip versus 3-6 Butterfingers? Let's look into that Lion Rip Butterfingers matchup. Lion Rip had 5 players reach double figures, which included 47 from Jalen Hurts, who had 2 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing TDs. Puka Nacua kept his hands to himself this week, scoring 13 points. And good old Mark Andrews back on the touchdown train. He had 15 points. Butterfingers had 24 combined points between Alvin Kamara and Jahmyr Gibbs, but a putrid 25 points from Jaden Daniels, who faced off against the always tough Steelers defense, Todd. That was about as it for this matchup. Not a lot of big performances outside of Hurts. Luckily for the Butterfingers, leaving Brock Purdy on his bench didn't come back to hurt him. 52 points, Todd. You left Brock Purdy and his 52 points on your bench, but you didn't get the dough of the week this week. So good job there, I guess.
Fantastic. Yeah. It's I said before, it's just
fantastic.
It's just not my year. I feel like where I think I've really just it's been my wide receivers. I Gibbs and Kamara have done everything known to mankind to help me, get wins. They've been in double digits for most of the season, and yeah, I screwed up and didn't put Brock Purdy in there, and he had 52 points, and yeah, it didn't come back to bite me, but yeah, it's what it is. I mean, and tight ends still suck. Just haven't been able to get it right. I think when Diggs and the Ayuk situation happened, that's where it just all went downhill. So I'm gonna keep putting the lineup in, trying. Like I said, I'm not gonna and then just try to battle for consolation supremacy. It's kind of my that's kind of the that's the silver lining I have. I'm probably not going to make the playoffs, and probably not going to be able to defend my crown, but battle for consolation supremacy, and that's all we can do. That's all we can do. I don't know what else more I can say, because it's just the players they're just not performing the way it did, and it's different when you are the champ. The situation and the rules are different, because you're thinking, okay, I can do this again, and you can't. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep on
Keep
put in
on
the lineup.
keeping on.
Keep on, and put it this way: now when I watch the games, I can just focus on the actual games itself because my fantasy team, may not just be a little, just maybe drying up in the air and just blowing away. So there it is.
Yeah, Chad Powers fan club and the Belt Sanders went toe to toe. Belt Sanders got 46 points from Patrick Mahomes, and good old Juwan Jennings. Haven't mentioned his name in a while. He was in double figures this week, and Travis Kelce. Of course, anytime Mahomes does well, Kelce does well. He had 17 points. Chad Powers fan club, boy, what a way to start a week. Jamar Chase, who leads all wide receivers in points scored this season, 42 on Thursday night, 3 touchdowns, 264 receiving yards, and 11 receptions. James Conner, great once again. He's also having another really good season, 18 points. Kareem Hunt, 13. Sam Laporta, hey, we haven't – when was the last time he had double figures? It must have been quite a while. But he got into touchdown territory here, 66 receiving yards. And Chad Powers fan clubs keeps his season going here at 4-6, beating 1-9 Belt Sanders. And we'll finish things off with yours truly, Chase Brown. Started the week off great for Eaton W's who took on the Lemonheads. Brown managed 19 points, 9 receptions. Incredible. George Pickens had a nice day versus the Commanders, 15 points. And Joe Mixon, we just mentioned his name every week, double figures, 5 straight weeks. Despite 15 points from Amon-Ra St. Brown and 15 from James Cook. Jared Goff, folks, the bed on Sunday night, 5 interceptions, just 15 completions for 26 points. Eaton W's probably put the proverbial nail in the Lemonheads coffin. 3-7. Yeesh. Eaton W's continues in their playoff race here. They're 6-4, 124-110 is your final total. And so there you have it. The dough of the week, Mikey, you want to talk about your dough of the week this week?
Yeah, I guess I could get my first. I mean,
Mikey's gonna get the dough of the week
this 1 week.
I know.
Spread the love, I guess there's a lot of options. I'm gonna say it was not playing Montgomery over Dobbins.
I feel has that gone back and forth the last couple of weeks? I mean, David Montgomery was good, but wasn't Dobbins better last week? And I don't remember how this went, but
yeah, he was. Yeah. And he wasn't better by much, but hey, better at all, in a game that was less than a point,
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy.
Yeah, enjoy.
Don't.
Oh, man. I wish I had extra people on the bench I could throw on, make my team better. That would be nice.
Yeah.
I don't have that.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some studs. Not a lot of them from this week.
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
Todd, give me a stud from week 10.
I'm gonna go with Buffalo's defense, just because 3 interceptions, 1 touchdown, and 4 sacks. I mean, I know we don't talk about defenses much or whatever, but when your defense gets you points in the 20s, you gotta at least give credit where credit's due. And I mean, obviously Indianapolis is bad anyway, but the fact you got 3 interceptions, one interception for a touchdown, and 4 sacks, that's pretty good. So I'll give it to the Buffalo's defense.
Yeah, we haven't talked a lot about defense this year. We kind of mentioned Minnesota, and they are leading everyone with 105 points. You guys want to give me a couple of guesses on who you think the top defenses are this week without cheating? Or not this week, but this season? I mentioned Minnesota. They're up top. Who else has been good point-wise?
The Broncos?
Denver's been good.
Yeah, they're second, 89 points this year.
Buffalo's been good.
Yeah, they're fourth, 86 points.
Baltimore?
Baltimore's been terrible.
They have not been good. We just talked about Joe Burrow having a field day versus them. You have the Chargers in the mix with 86 points. Green Bay, yeah, they're the 8th on the season. Pittsburgh, 82. A team Mikey just dropped, I think, before this podcast. Chicago Bears defense, 80 points on the season. So, yeah, just looking over some defenses. We don't talk about those as much. Mikey, give me a stud.
All right. My stud's going to Robert Woods, baby.
Ooh, 1 point. Yeah. Stud of the week for Robert Woods, but it made a huge difference.
Bobby Trees. He came out there.
Favorite players, right?
Yeah, Robert Woods is a former Butterfinger, yeah.
Well, I mean, you would just always say he was better than Cooper Kupp, which he wasn't, but
You know,
Go ahead, Miguel.
He got that the very last play of the third quarter. Wide receiver screen.
yeah,
Got the point. Got the win. I was hoping he would like maybe run like a reverse and get like negative yards to give me a chance, but didn't happen. So Robert Woods, man, congratulations. Good job, Quayne.
I'm also going to pick a guy that wasn't the best on the week, but he did enough to beat me this week. And Matt Stafford didn't look like he put up 41 points. I was not looking at my phone at all as this game, because I was like, I have an outside shot, but I really don't have a shot. He did not have a touchdown. He had a pick, but he had 32 completions, which was more than enough to beat me this week. But Matt Stafford helped eating W's. 6-4 for Kevin's squad. I'm surprised he didn't ask to be on the podcast after beating me, but I wouldn't have let him on anyway. Yeah. So, Todd, do you have another stud?
Yes.
From last week, who you got?
Jamar Chase, 42 points.
Yeah, that's the low hanging fruit for sure. I mean,
I mean, it's you know, it's always the debate, you know, who's better, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. But when Jamar Chase is, I mean, 1 and 2, but that's a different story for a different day. But 264 yards receiving and a touchdown. Whew, man, against Baltimore, yeah, Jamar Chase definitely balled out this week for sure. And yeah, that's pretty good. That's yeah, you're right. It's a low hanging fruit, but.
No, but I mean, that's what studs do. I mean, you're going to pick those guys, and what he was able to do I mean, that is a lot of points. In a week where there was not a lot of high, I mean, Kilgore scored a lot of points, NWA scored a lot of points, but a lot of scores in like the 115 range, 120 range. Obviously, we had some in the 90s, and so that's a good portion to have 42 points on your squad for Chad Powers, who had 146, and if he got it like a normal day from Jamar Chase, then Belt Sanders would have picked up the win. So, I mean, that's what studs do. They come in, they help you win games. And, you know, sometimes you always worry. I mean, I've had a game like that where James Cook had 30 some points or 28 points on a Thursday and then still lost that week. But usually when you get those big time numbers, they really carry you for the rest of the weekend. Mikey, who else stood out last week?
So I got to go with the other end of that, which is Joe Burrow.
Folks.
I mean,
golly.
Todd, see, this is why Baltimore's defense has been so bad. Like in 2 games, he had 75 points against Baltimore this week. In the 2 games he's played against Baltimore combined, it's combined for 149.5 points.
Golly.
Over 800 yards and 9 touchdowns in those 2 games against Baltimore. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
Joe Burrow helping out Joe Vaccarelli.
Hey.
How about that? Lamar Jackson was the other one I was going to mention. He had 65 points for Pat, not even rushing. I mean, we see a lot of his rushing totals that really bring up his numbers on the week. But this, I mean, it was 4 passing touchdowns, 25 completions, 290 yards. He's got 5 games of 50 or more points. Him and Joe Burrow, 505 points each. So Lamar Jackson, 505.56, Burrow, 505.18. So, man, big-time performances. Don't have those guys on my team or my season would be different. Let's go to the duds.
This is the worst. You are the worst. I hate looking at your face. I want to smash it.
Mikey's, whose face do you want to smash? And why is it
on
here? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I wasn't going to go with somebody on my team. I mean, I have plenty of options, but...
There's a lot of options this week.
I had to go back to one of my old friends. See, you know, it was somebody who, you know, I've always hated. This year was finally the year that I was actually giving him some credit. And boy, was I wrong. Welcome back to the duds, DJ Moore.
Oh, yes, DJ
there it
Moore.
is. DJ Moore, ladies and gentlemen. There it is.
This is now 4 weeks in a row where he has had 5 or less points.
Is it all his fault, though?
Yeah,
he fired their offensive coordinator.
I thought that, you know, great wide receivers, no matter what the situation, are supposed to be good.
Yeah, well, DJ Moore is, yeah. But DJ Moore isn't Justin Jefferson. Let's be realistic there. But that.
Oh,
but,
no one's saying that.
Well, I'm just saying
he's the one that can overcome bad quarterback play at time. Even though Sam Darnold's been fine. But go ahead. DJ Moore.
Yeah, I mean, not good. I mean, this is supposed to be a big play wide receiver, and in the last 4 weeks, his highest yards total is 33 yards. He hasn't had a touchdown since week 5. Like, he is just not performing up to the levels in which, Dylan has expected from him. And I mean, hopefully this coaching change at the offensive coordinator helps, but man, he has been really, really bad.
They're going to clean house anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
The Bears are going to clean house?
Oh,
They
absolutely.
just built that house.
They can.
Are they getting rid of their first overall quarterback?
No, they're going to get rid of. They're going to get rid of their coach. They're going to no. They're going to. You don't get rid of Caleb Williams. No, you get somebody in there that's.
Hasn't he been the problem?
I think it's the right. I think it's the wrong kind of coach. That.
But they drafted him. Why is it the wrong type of coach if they drafted him?
Because when teams lose, it's always the coach's fault. Haven't you learned this?
Exactly. And if anything,
all those weapons in Chicago, Keenan Allen and DJ Moore and Cole Kmet and DeAndre Swift, but it's not Caleb Williams' fault.
No, it's not. And if anything,
come on. It's got to be his fault.
And if anything, you know who I'd go and get just for grins, and we'll continue on. I'd go get Lincoln Riley. Go get his college coach that knows how to use him properly. There's your problem fixed right there. Boom.
Really? That's why when they were at USC, they were always underachieving, and people were complaining about Lincoln Riley. And now you want to bring him to the pros?
You get him a lot better weapons there. Younger coach, somebody can that knows
his
how to.
Weapons are fine.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why you bring Lincoln Riley in there, but that's a different story for a different day. Well, you just bring in Deion Sanders. How about that? Just bring on Deion. How about that?
Hey, we coming.
Okay.
Speaking of
remember,
terrible week 10s,
when you look good, you feel good, you play good.
I just want to say this campus. I want to say this campus is so beautiful. Okay,
give me a dud.
I have another.
It's dud time, Todd. What do you got?
Okay, I got another dud. I'm gonna go with even though tight ends have been horrible, but Jake Ferguson from the Cowboys. I mean, he hasn't been as bad, but only 3 points for him. I mean, I know Dallas is going downhill, but I don't know why you play anybody from the Cowboys not named CeeDee Lamb, but hey, what do I know? I'm 3-7. So
well, I mean, tight ends. I mean, he had Cole Kmet he could have used as well, but neither one of them did well this week. But yeah, Dallas, talk about cleaning house. Yuck.
Yeah, they're clean house.
I'm going to pick one from Mikey's team, and that's his good old boy kicker who missed a field goal, which would have made a huge difference. Now, I had Koo on my team, and he screwed me too earlier this week. He stinks. And
he stinks.
Did not help Mikey at all when he only needed was less than a point to win out this week. Way to go, kicker.
Not Koo. Not Koo.
Not Koo at all.
No, that's good. Good, Mikey.
Mikey, who else? Who else stunk it up this past week?
Oh,
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean there is so many, but in your case, I'm gonna have to go with Jared Goff because
He's on my list.
His team may have won.
Stop starting him.
Yeah, I mean his team may have won, but he really screwed you over with those. When you have 5 interceptions and only 15 completions, I mean that is just it's bad for you. You have so many Lions on your team.
I know.
It's it's just taking you down with the ship. Jared Goff, bad performance.
33 points, 29 points, and 26 points the last 3 weeks. I need to stop starting him. I've got to put in Tua.
Yeah.
Who also hasn't been spectacular either, but at least there's opportunity. The Lions keep winning. They keep winning, and they don't need them to throw 50 times. They're running the ball well. Their defense is performing well. I need to change. Although it's a little late for that. Can we talk about Jaden Daniels?
Yes, we can.
25 points. But is it his fault? I don't know. He's a rookie. He's still learning some things. He only had 5 rushing yards, which obviously is a big part of his game.
Mm-hmm.
Just 17 completions, 202 yards, no touchdowns. But the Steelers are good, as we just mentioned. So
yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, Jaden Daniels is gonna. Put some better weapons around him. I mean, he'll get better too. But yeah, it wasn't a good week for Jaden Daniels. So
this is my thing that I know is coming.
Uh-huh.
Todd, that means you're playing Brock Purdy, right?
Yes, because I'm not playing against Philadelphia. Forget that.
Recency bias. That is Todd Diamond's middle name. Todd Recency Bias Diamond.
I'm not
How'd you
playing
do last week? That's how you're going to do this week.
Okay. I mean, in any
look
way,
at the matchup. We'll get to the matchup in a second.
But I'm just saying Jane Daniels is playing the Eagles on a short week tomorrow against the. Yeah, I'm not doing that. No, thank you.
So we'll talk about the matchups here now. Week 11 schedule: 9-1 Notorious CUP versus 1-9 Belt Sanders. Let's go Belt Sanders. 8-2 Kilgore Trout taking on 4-6 Chad Powers Fan Club. 7-3 Hot Tamales taking on 5-5 Lion Rip. That's a big one for Aaron. 6-4 Cooper's Cousins versus 3-7 Lemonheads. 6-4 Eaton W's versus 3-7 Gonzo Cats, and 5-5 the NWA versus 3-7 Butterfingers. Bye weeks, gentlemen. There are 4 teams not playing this week: the Cardinals, the Panthers, the Giants, the Buccaneers. Just make sure you don't have any of those guys in your lineup. Todd, now you can talk about your matchup this week as you take on 5-5 NWA.
Ooh, hooray!
Just scored a massive 170 points this week.
Yeah, it's gonna be a massacre, epic proportions here.
You are currently favored in this matchup right now.
Well, it's because NWA needs a running back. He has to go find one.
But still, if he puts in a running back, that's 15 points. Todd still has the advantage there.
Yeah.
Where's he going to find a 15-point running back at?
I don't know.
That's my point. That's my point.
They're not a dime a
Todd's
dozen.
favored in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, hey.
Despite running with Mooney, Odunze, that trade worked out. Well, I guess he's still getting points as Ayuk's not.
Romeo Dobbs. Man, Todd, your team is terrible. Oof.
Well, again, I messed. Mikey, I screwed up. I should have sticked with my game plans in the past. Just draft a number 1 running back and a number 1 wide receiver, and then fill your team out the rest of the way. I didn't do that. Okay?
I thought you did draft a number 1 wide receiver with Brandon Ayuk.
You know what? Shut up, Mikey. Shut up. But yeah. I mean, it'd be interesting. I mean, Baltimore's playing Pittsburgh, and those games are always, no matter what, are always kind of tough games because they're division games, and the Steelers and Ravens always had it's been kind of a almost stalemate type game, so not a lot of points. So maybe, just maybe, you get Lamar Jackson on a bad week, and so forth. But yeah, we'll just see what happens. I mean, there's nothing really I can do at this point, and just put the lineup in that I think I can. And I looked at the waiver wire, still wasn't great. So yeah, Romeo Dobbs, Mikey. That's what the world gets.
Well, at least you brought back one of your championship pieces in David Njoku.
Yeah,
that should make you feel better.
It brought a little tear to my eye, and I was like, yeah, David Njoku's back with the Butterfingers. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I can't be any worse. Can't be any worse. So
sure it can. Sure it can.
Oh,
Mikey, you're going to take on your brother Lion Rip this week. Saquon versus Jalen Hurts.
Tush yeah, push. It's a gosh, I hate that tush push so much. Don't even know. And it's happened so many times where he's gone down at that 1 yard line. Yeah, this is an interesting matchup. I'm not playing Kirk Cousins against the Broncos this week. I don't like the matchup.
Jameis Winston.
Yeah, Jameis Winston, a return to New Orleans,
Ooh, revenge game. All right.
Yeah, and no Malik Neighbors this week either. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be Hopkins
and Cousins not do well against New Orleans. Am I wrong on that?
He did not.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. New Orleans is not that good. I think that was more of a 1 week, new coach, let's play hard, and then they'll be back to their crappy selves this week. At least I hope.
Yeah, hope.
There's a lot. I have Barkley. He has Hurts. He also has Cedric Tillman with Winston, my quarterback. There's a lot of
that's not bad then.
Potential wash spots in this.
Yeah.
I also am playing, my defense against my quarterback, because as much as I think that Winston could have yards and completions, we all know Winston can also throw picks. So at least I'll get those points back. if he decides to do some stuff like that.
And don't forget, Lion Rip's going to get Javonte Williams after the trade. Yeah.
Well, in that case, I hope he puts him in.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. There you go. I'm taking on Dylan this week. Don't feel great about it. We'll see. We'll probably run with Tua now that Jacksonville is going to run with their backup. So Goff's not going to have to do much again in another win for the Lions this week. So that's not going to go well. Kyron Williams hasn't scored a touchdown in 3 games or 2 games. Oh, he hasn't scored in the last 2. He has. So that's. We'll see. But good old DJ Moore and Tank Dell, they could be big time busts. And right now he has good old Braylon Allen in the starting lineup.
Yeah, Braylon Allen's in there. You know,
Ferguson's in there.
Bijan Robinson's playing the Broncos defense, which is good. Like, the Broncos have been decent against running backs. So
Marvin Harrison's on a bye.
Yeah.
So you never know. It doesn't help that Anthony Richardson's not playing or is playing for the Colts, as Josh Downs is much better with Joe Flacco in the mix. So yeah, there you go. Life is swell.
It sure is.
Life is swell.
Here, you gotta say, life is here in the MHA universe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it just me, or is it that everybody this year is having trouble finding wide receivers?
It's crazy. It's crazy. I feel like, I mean, it goes back and forth, but usually running backs is like the really hard position.
Yeah.
Usually you can find a third wide receiver on an NFL team that's out there that you can plug in, but not this year.
Yeah.
Who's the top guy? Alec Pierce is the top guy out in the waiver wire right now.
Oh,
Deontay Johnson, Demario Douglas. Yuck.
Wow.
There you have it. Well, gentlemen, better days are ahead. At least
Sure
remind you. Week 11 coming up quick here tomorrow night. Make sure you tune in. Thanks for everyone listening out there. An audience of 1.
Yeah. Audience of 1.
Audience of 1. That's what we should name the podcast going forward. MHA Podcast, an audience of 1.
1.
For Mikey Renault, Todd Diamond, I'm Eric Lansing. We'll see you next time on the MHA Podcast.